Hi, friends. Welcome to reading. Today we are on lesson 96 in our blue cheetah book. So go ahead, find lesson 96. We'll start with column 1. Word 1 says recently. What word? Spell recently. Here we go. RECENTLY, recently. Number 2 says scent. What word? Scent. Word 3 says cruel. What word? Cruel is another word for very mean. Spell cruel. Get ready. CREUL. Cruel. Number 4 says tempted. What word? Tempted. Spell tempted. Get ready. TEMPTED. Tempted. If you are tempted to do something, part of you wants to do it, but another part doesn't. If a person is tempted to eat more ice cream, how does a person feel? Feels like they want to eat ice cream. That's right. Word 5 says checkpoint. What word? Word 6 says handlebar. What word? Handlebar. Let's read those words the fast way. Word 1, what word? Word 2, what word? Word 3, what word? Word 4, what word? Word 5, what word? Word 6, what word? Very good. Let's find column 2. Number 1 says trudged. What word? Trudged. Trudge means to walk along slowly. What's the word? Good. Number 2 says rainy. What word? Number 3 says stinging. What word? Word 4 says volunteers. What word? Number 1, what word? Number 2, what word? Number 3, what word? Number 4, what word? Good. A volunteer is someone who does a job and doesn't get paid. So if you're volunteering to be Mrs. Halverson's helper in the classroom, then you come in and you work for Mrs. Halverson, but you don't get paid. Let's find column 3. Number 1 is the name. It says Miss Siri Carlson. What's the name? Number 2 is also a name. It says Libby Riddles. What's the name? Number 3 is a last name. It says Bowman. What word? Number 4 says Evergreen. What word? Number 5 says struck. What word? Good. Let's read these words the fast way. Number 1, what name? Number 2, what name? Number 3, what name? Number 4, what word? Number 5, what word? Very good. Find column 4. Number 1 says gust. What word? Number 2 says weary. What word? Number 3 says sleeve. What word? Number 4 says blizzard. What word? Number 5 says birthday. What word? Number 6 says snowmobile. What word? Very good. Let's read these words the fast way. Word 1, what word? Word 2, what word? Word 3, what word? Word 4, what word? Word 5, what word? Word 6, what word? Very good. Let's play the mystery word. I'm thinking of a word that is a verb. It is 1 syllable, and it means to walk slowly. What word am I thinking of? That's right. I'm thinking of the word trudged. All right, friends, find part B in your textbook. Everybody touch the title. Everybody, what's the title? Checkpoints. Here we go. Checkpoints are places along the Iditarod Trail where mushers can rest their teams, make repairs, and feed their dogs. The places are called checkpoints because race officials check to make sure that all the mushers pass through each checkpoint. If mushers don't get to a checkpoint, the officials send out planes or snowmobiles to find them. Checkpoints are about 50 miles apart, so there are usually 24 checkpoints from the beginning of the Iditarod Trail to Nome. A lot of things happen at these checkpoints. A musher can drop off an injured or sick dog at a checkpoint. Airplanes deliver food for dogs and mushers to most of the checkpoints. Some of the checkpoints have veterinarians and assistants who check the dogs. Scholars, how do they get food at the checkpoints? That's right, they bring them by airplanes. How far apart are the checkpoints? About 50 miles. Very good. How many checkpoints are there from Anchorage to Nome? Usually 24. All right, scholars, find part C in your textbook. Here we go. Please read along with Mrs. Halverson and then read to yourself out loud at your house one more time. Okay, here we go. Everybody touch the title. Everybody, what's the title? On the Trail. Number 60, the announcer called from Sweden in her third Iditarod, Siri Carlson. Susie had talked with Miss Carlson before the race. Good luck, Susie called, and Miss Carlson waved to her. The moment she left, Susie's heart started to pound. This was it. In 2 minutes, Chad would be off and on his own. He would be challenging cruel weather and fierce winds, and Denali would be out there with him. For a moment, Susie was tempted to grab Chad's sleeve and say, "Don't do it, Chad, it's too dangerous." But instead, she smiled. How does Susie feel? She has a bunch of different emotions coming at her, doesn't she? She's excited, but nervous, worried. That's right. Why didn't she let Chad know that she was nervous? Yeah, maybe it would make him nervous too. Do you think Susie was worried about something happening to Denali? Yeah, I think probably so. What was the name of the woman who left before Chad? Siri Carlson. Good. Let's keep reading. Chad looked at Susie, smiled nervously, and shook his head. "I'm nervous now," he said. "I always feel that way before a race starts." A few moments later, the announcer said, "Number 61 from the town of Nick, which is just outside the great city of Anchorage in the great state of Alaska, Chad Bowman." Last time he tried, he didn't have very good luck. This time, I hope his luck will be better. See you in Nome, Chad. I'm going to pause there. I wonder how Chad felt about having that announced over the loudspeaker to everyone. Maybe he felt a little bit embarrassed. I don't know if the announcer should have told everyone what had happened. Chad waved and his sled went down the well-used trail. Then Susie watched it get smaller and smaller as the snow continued to fall. Then Susie could hardly see it. Then... Last sentence is not finished. What should it say? Then she couldn't see him at all, right? Let's keep reading. Hundreds of volunteer workers are needed to make the Iditarod successful. These volunteers do everything from helping injured dogs to flying planes that deliver food to checkpoints. Mushers carry only enough food for about 1 day on the trail. They get the rest of the food they need at the checkpoints. Mushers have to do a lot of things, and they must do them without help from anybody at the checkpoint. The first thing mushers do at a checkpoint is feed their dogs, and they set up a place for their dogs to rest. Keep reading. Mushers often cut branches from evergreen trees and make beds for their dogs. They must also get water for the dogs. They either heat snow to melt it or haul water from a stream. They check the dogs' paws, booties, and harnesses. Then the mushers take a little time to eat, and maybe they'll even take a nap before continuing. After they leave the checkpoint, they usually don't see anything but the trail, the snow, and their dogs until they reach the next checkpoint. Sometimes they will catch up to another sled. That sled moves over and lets them pass. It was What does that mean again? That time has passed. That's right. It was now the third day of the race, and Chad's team was in the mountains. On the day before the race had started, the weather reports warned about a great storm moving in from the north. That storm had arrived. Chad was trying to make his way through very rough country. He wasn't riding on the back of the sled. He was walking behind the sled as he held the handlebar, but he wasn't walking very fast. The wind blasted the snow with stinging force, and the temperature was around 10 degrees, error one, below zero. The snow was hard and icy. The dogs were weary, and so was Chad. He could not see past the wheel dogs. Oh, look at the picture of Chad. He looks kind of miserable. How many days was it into the race? 3 days. What kind of terrain was Chad in? Was it flat? No, he was in the mountains. How cold was it? About 10 degrees below zero. So when the wind chill is 10 degrees below zero here in St. Paul, we don't let you guys go out for recess. So that's how cold it was. What was the wind like? It was blasting and blowing very hard. Good. How far could Chad see? Not past the wheel dogs. Why couldn't he see further? Because it was snowing so hard. That's right. Everybody, look at the picture on the next page. That's the one that I said he looks miserable in. Would you be able to even recognize Chad? You can't even see his mustache. He looks very uncomfortable. Let's keep reading. As a stinging gust of wind struck him, he shook his head and laughed to himself. He shouted above the wind, "Why do they call this place Rainy Pass? It's always frozen and cold." As Chad trudged through the blizzard, he remembered the story of the first woman to win the Iditarod. Her name is Libby Riddles. She won the race in 1985. That was one of the longest races ever because the weather was so bad. The race was stopped twice because the planes could not get to the checkpoints and drop off food. Most of the mushers were at Rainy Pass the first time the race was stopped. At that moment, Susie was in her warm living room writing Chad a letter as her mother watched TV. Susie wrote a letter every day. She sent all of them to Noam. She wanted to make sure that when Chad finally arrived there, he would have a lot of mail from Susie. Here's part of the letter she was writing now. Do you know that in 2 days it will be Denali's birthday? He'll be 3 years old. Suddenly, the TV program stopped and an announcer said, "Here's a special report on the Iditarod from Rainy Pass." The picture on the TV showed snow blowing and a reporter who was yelling over the wind. He told about the high winds at Rainy Pass. He said, "The winds are blowing so hard that some of the mushers are lost because they can't see the trail. The race officials may have to send out search parties if some of the teams don't show up at the checkpoint pretty soon." Susie didn't finish the letter she had started. Denali's birthday didn't seem very important anymore. Instead, she wrote another letter. "Dear Uncle Chad, the weather report from Rainy Pass is scary. I hope you are not one of those mushers who got lost. I hope they found all the mushers who got lost, and I hope their dogs are okay. I hope that your team is doing well. With love, Susie." What she really wanted to say in her letter was, "Oh, please make sure that Denali is all right. Oh, please don't get lost. And if you do get lost, please find your way to the next checkpoint." Why did Susie write a different letter after the news report? Because she didn't think Denali's birthday was very important anymore. That's right. What did the race officials at Rainy Pass think they might have to do if the blizzard continues? They might have to stop the race. That must be a pretty bad blizzard if they have to stop the race. All right, friends, so let's take a look at our homework. Here is our homework for lesson 96. So it says the cause is why something happened. The effect is what happened. Okay, the cause is why something happened. The effect is what happened. So the cause is this is just an example. I stayed up way too late last night. The effect of that is what? How do I feel today? That's right. I'm very tired today. Let's try another one. Let's do a cause of the temperature on the snow. So let's say it's 70 degrees tomorrow. What's the effect? If it's 70 degrees, it might have a lot of different effects. But the effect on the snow would be the snow would melt. That's right. So let's look at our homework for today. Lesson 96. The cause is why something happened. The effect is what happened. It says, at the end of today's story, Susie stopped writing the letter she was writing and started a different letter. This is an effect. What caused her to write a different letter? So something happened that made her start writing a different letter, right? What happened? There's maybe two answers for that one. And then it says, what was she writing about in the first letter? Do you remember? Didn't seem so important after something happened. Okay, and then what did she write in the second letter? Imagine for a moment you are Susie. What would you write in a letter to Chad? Make sure that when you start with, if I were Susie, I would write. Very good. So here, make sure that you're looking at the rubric here. It says, wrote what caused her to write a new letter. So what happened? Did you write it? Did you correctly write what the first letter was about? Did you write correctly what the second letter was about? Do you have a thoughtful connection, capitalization, proper punctuation? I'm sure you can get all those things, right? Not too hard. All right, friends. Happy reading. See you on Monday in reading.